Hi there. Where do we go from here? After 8 defeats in our last 12 Premier League matches for Ruben Amorim, Spurs became the first side to complete a hat-trick of wins against United in the same season since Chelsea in 2012-2013 on Sunday. But it's not just the stats that are so alarming for United fans. And that's the big concern for Ruben's prospects at Old Trafford. Our new head coach didn't get the backing he needed in the transfer window, and the club's woeful financial position means he probably won't be backed in the summer either, not unless we qualify for next season's Champions League. The only route to that outcome is to win the Europa League, of course. And to do that, United must beat 4 more teams in Europe's second tier. Based on our league form, that looks extremely unlikely. But you never know. Our best results this season have mostly been in cup competitions. So what's Ruben's record like in European competition? Apart from getting the better of Pep Guardiola and Manchester City in one of his final games at Sporting, Ruben's record in Europe is good, but not outstanding. Let me put it this way. To get anything out of this season, Amorim has to start performing miracles. But at least he does have both the Europa League and the FA Cup to aim for. Erik ten Hag managed to win 2 cups, so surely we have a chance with Ruben Amorim, you'd think. The problem, as I see it, is that Amorim is wedded to a system that doesn't suit the players he has available. That's one of the reasons he ditched a demotivated and underperforming Marcus Rashford. But Ruben was only given wing-back Patrick Dorgu as a first-team ready player in the transfer window. And his squad has now been depleted by the kind of injury setbacks that handicapped Erik ten Hag. Amad Diallo, the most effective player in Amorim's system, is probably out for the rest of the season, while injuries to Kobbie Mainoo, Manuel Ugarte and Toby Collier mean they join Lisandro Martinez, Mason Mount, Luke Shaw, Johnny Evans, Altay Bayindir and Tom Heaton all on the sidelines. Most United fans, I believe, are still fully behind Ruben Amorim and know he needs time. As I've said since day one, I do like Ruben and I'm impressed that he respects our legacy and our history, but football is a fickle business. Jim Ratcliffe is not a patient person, and Ruben Amorim has been set up to fail. At least it feels like he's been set up to fail in the Premier League this season. With United heading for a bottom half finish for the first time since 1989-1990, the media vultures who love to see United fail will be sensing blood. And the lower United fall in the Premier League, then that weakens Amorim's position and his job security at Manchester United. Not least because Jim Ratcliffe, as I've already said and as we've already seen, is not a patient man. Since Ineos took over French club Nice in 2019, only one head coach has survived for more than 1 year, and that's Patrick Vieira, who was already in the job when Ratcliffe took control. Erik ten Hag didn't last a year under Ineos, and Dan Ashworth, who wanted to keep Erik, was also sacked partly, we believe, for not being in favour of taking on Ruben Amorim midway through a season. But was Ashworth right to warn against bringing in Ruben at a time when the club knew they didn't have the cash to back the new guy? What do you think? Our results since Ruben Amorim took over are much worse than we saw under Erik. Ruben's system is just not delivering anywhere near the goals we need. He's failed so far to get the best out of the players he has available, and unless he can turn the kids who are waiting in the wings into more effective first-teamers, it's hard to see how Ruben's going to succeed where others have failed at Manchester United. In this turbulent season, the one glimmer of hope for Ruben is that one potential get-out-of-jail card in the Europa League. The one success story so far this season is that United are unbeaten in the Europa League and through to the final 16. Win the Europa League and all of a sudden the whole landscape would look entirely different, because Champions League qualification brings riches that will give United another chance in the transfer market. And Ruben clearly needs top quality signings to make real progress at Manchester United. I doubt he'll be given enough time if we're relying on blending homegrown talent to create a team equipped to challenge for the title. Meantime, it's Everton away next in the Premier League. United can expect a hostile atmosphere in what will be our final visit to Goodison Park against a team revitalised by our former manager David Moyes. Another defeat on Saturday and Ruben Amorim will feel more pressure and more scrutiny. It's no wonder Ruben's already on the defensive, talking about how hard his job is and how he's got a lot of problems. Luckily, one of those problems is not going to be relegation, not this season at least. Relegation is still a mathematical possibility, and this United side is not too good to go down. But the bottom four clubs are just too far behind for two of them to get past United. That's just not going to happen, I don't think. But the stats are damning, and that's mostly on Ruben Amorim. United have lost 12 of our first 25 games in the Premier League. The last time we lost more, we were relegated back in 1973-1974. I was there that day when Dennis Law backheeled us into the second division. The Lawman's goal didn't actually relegate United, would have gone down anyway, but that goal was symbolic of United's demise. What's symbolic of United's current decline is the gross mismanagement of this football club by the owners. The Glazers put us in this mess in the first place, and it looks like self-proclaimed saviour Jim Ratcliffe is making things even worse, as I outlined in my previous video. Please check out that video if you've not done so already. My view is that Ratcliffe's primary focus is the financial rewards he can trigger by building a new stadium at the centre of a government-backed Old Trafford regeneration. Success on the pitch is obviously the biggest driver that would increase the value of Manchester United Football Club. But we're so far behind our rivals, it's hard to see how these current owners are going to turn that around. They're gambling on the academy providing a pipeline to fund and facilitate our recovery eventually. And they're gambling on Ruben Amorim to perform miracles in the meantime. In my decades following United, I've always been the eternal optimist. And I still hope that Ruben Amorim can do great things at United. But I do know that we need better owners. And I do know that we need a better ownership model. The fans know that too. That's why there's a massive fan protest being planned for the home match against Arsenal in 3 weeks' time. I fully support the fans' right to protest, especially after the way Ratcliffe is cutting the club to the bone and punishing supporters with ticket price rises. It's my belief that there are more substantial ticket price rises planned by the owners. And I do believe that's going to be the trend right across the Premier League, not just at Old Trafford. So my message to the 1958 group who are organising the protest on March the 9th is this: protests are far more effective when rival clubs stand together in support of one clear aim. We saw that when fan protests halted the Super League breakaway. Personally, I think the only way to protect our football clubs is to have some form of fan ownership model where owners are accountable to the fans and decision makers can be voted out if they fail to deliver what they promise.